It was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be like a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
The vision and even, I would say, the mission is to actually make sure that the community owns, or the community, partakes in what I do, or partakes and takes on, what we have actually created, in terms of franchise, and involving women and youth of townships, into the franchise model, where we employ them, not only employing them, but also getting them involved into this movement of healthy eating and healthy lifestyle. What I do every day in the morning, I come in to the Express Bakery where I kind of assist preparing the second batch, because the batch that we're actually doing now is the batch that will be sold during the day and as well as in the afternoon when people are coming from work. I was born in the Eastern Cape in a small town called Butterworth. It's in between Amtata and East London. My mother was a single parent, so she couldn't afford all these things. She was just affording food for us. So I had to make sure that my clothes and my little brother's clothes are actually bought by myself. My mother got fired, and then we were left in a situation of not having anything. When I was 14 years, I used to go and work for a supermarket called Sparks there, where I was pushing the trolley. And I told my mother that, you know what, let us do this thing for only this year. But next year, I'm leaving town, I gotta leave. I can't be watching you suffering, There was a year when I was 17 years old, I said to my mother, listen here, I'm going to Cape Town. There's an informal settlement called Bella, not far away from Belleville. There's no electricity. It was just a tip. So I lived there for almost a year, but continuing with the school. I had my own shack, 17-year-old boy with my own shack, because I was working at the scrapyard. I just then understood that it's not going to be the life that will please my parents, and also it's not going to be the life that will take me out of the poverty. So I went to the scrapyard and I told them that, just because they fired me because I was, stealing as well. You understand what I'm saying? When you smoke, stealing, there's a lot of corruption, within. It was on the earliest phase. I had to be here every time. But now I don't have to be here, because if I'm here, then administration is not done. If I'm here, then customers are not taken care of. My focus is to make sure that the production capacity and the production is done properly. Also, supply chain management. The distribution as well is another part of the business that is so critical. And also make sure that, the quality of the bread is still the same as when I was baking myself. So that's why I come here, to make sure that, everything is done properly, because the quality and the taste of the bread mustn't change. After a year, I realized that, okay, now I need to change, and what can I do? So I came to Khayelitsha when I was doing my grade 10 and grade 11. I just focused in school. When I'm at school. When I'm outside the school, I'm outside the school. When I'm with my gang, I become, the role model to them. I'm the team leader, So there was that focus, that Lufefe, if he's not around, things are not happening. So, sure. And then, yeah, funny it was when I told them that I've changed, like everyone was like, boo, boo, come on, man. Wow, you're changing to what? I'm no longer drinking, no longer, yeah, I'm still smoking cigarette, but not dacha anymore, I'm not going to be working for this scrapyard anymore. No copper stealing, no nothing. So I'm just going to be living a clean lifestyle now. Because I knew as well that my mother was going to come to Cape Town. So I went to Barcelona Township. That time, things were happening in terms of like you can just go to the committee and tell the committee that I need this piece of land. It was just a dumping zone. So I got the land and my mother lives there currently. Bought myself a shack because I was working in another construction on weekends and as well as on holidays. I used to sleep on the floor, put some mattress and some 2 blankets, But I was happy and I was free. Now we're going to Khayelitsha Super Spa with the assistance of my neighbor. That's how we transport our stuff. The relationship we have with them is broader than just supplying them. So we supply them, but at the same time, we also buy from them. As you might see here, this is the spinach bread, the bread that is baked from the container that you just saw. It's competing against all these products. These are bigger products, bigger brands. At 11 o'clock, someone will come and promote the product. And when he promotes the product, he's not only promoting, but selling at the same time. So we'll have to actually make sure that we bake the second batch so that we can actually distribute the afternoon delivery. I failed my grade 11. I repeated, and my mother got a job in one city. That's when then she got to a situation of being a mother because she could provide for me, a fare to go to school, shoes. I stopped working. I repeated my grade 11 and I passed it. I passed my matric as well. And then from there, I was clear as to what is it that I wanted to do. Though I was still drinking then there, as like any other guy, in the township, drinking and smoking. But however, I was clear on what is it that I wanted to do. And then from there, after matriculating, I got a job as a replenisher, worked for a clothing company. I went straight to where the clothes were sold. Were manufactured, so I could buy from a manufacturer and sell to the township. So I then started being an entrepreneur then. It was like 8 years ago. After 4 months, I went to work for an insurance company, where I was selling insurance. Selling that insurance taught me how to deal with customers, how to convince people, and how to sell, literally. The time that I have in the bakery, I teach them as much as I can, to make sure that I transfer the skill so that when I'm gone, they can be able to do this on their own. This method of baking, it's not as like when you're baking a normal ordinary bread. It's different in terms of moist, in terms of proofing. It's a different way of proofing, times, temperatures, baking, fermentation, and everything. So someone has to be learned before he can or she can be able to bake this particular product or these products. It happened when I was sitting and doing nothing in the township. Something came to me that I should go and volunteer in a community garden called Abalimi Bezekaya Harvest of Hope. So I did a voluntary job there worked for about 4 months. That's where then I was dealing with the spinach, you know, that's where the papaya and spinach thing came from. Something came to me that, let me use the spinach, you know. Using the spinach and incorporating it in daily consume products will give me a business idea. And that business idea will not only help me, but also will help the community. But now I need to understand the problems of my community before I can start anything. I didn't know how to bake because I was not a baker before. You know, I don't even have a background of baking, yeah, other than baking using a backboard, you know, at home. So basically, I went online onto a platform called Breaducation. That's where I learned that bread is made out of these ingredients, you know, high sodium, gluten, white flour, and all these high carbohydrate contents that are within the bread. Whatever that I'm learning there, I was writing it down. That education for me, you know, resonated to an idea, you know, that, okay, let me incorporate spinach in bread. I didn't have an oven. So I started waking up 2 o'clock in the morning, kneading in a bucket, and I would cover the bucket with clothes and put it in a warmer place and take it from there at 2 o'clock to the neighbor. So I would run to the neighbor every day, 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock baking. My vision was bigger than even the shack that I was living in, because I knew that I cannot use this shack for baking. It's not conducive for the concept, the hygiene, because this is just a shack, you know, I need resources.
We received funding from the Citibank to work with entrepreneurs, women and youth entrepreneurs in South African metros. So our initial idea was that we would have a big newspaper advertisement and we would go out and look for entrepreneurs. But as we went down that path, we actually started to see that there were a lot of entrepreneurs that were already working, and we were hearing stories about them. And one of the stories that was coming through is that there are a lot of interesting things that are happening in Khayelitsha. So there were a couple of businesses in Khayelitsha that were taking place, and one of them happened to be Espinaca. So initially we called Lufefe and we said, well, Lufefe, we would be interested in working with your business. And Lufefe being Lufefe was very bubbly and excited. He said, well, come across and we'll have that meeting. Yeah. You still remember that?
Yeah, I still remember, because it was first an email. It was first an email.
Yes.
So like TechnoServe, ED program, and assistance. At that stage, if you still remember, the business was still immature. People are accepting it, Firstly, they were hesitant, They were not actually getting taking the product as we were promoting it. But as time goes by, now it seems as if now people are actually understanding to know the product very well. But it does very well, and it's competing very well.
When you're coming in with a new product to a new market, especially a market like Khayelitsha, which is not health conscious, that's not the biggest and most important thing at in people's minds. It's probably the price. It's the price, and secondly, you find that it's the perception things that healthy food is not for me. It would be someone who can afford to go to whatever retail store that is high class. So basically it's even a hustle. You have to crack people's skulls. You understand? Before you sell, you can't sell without educating that person. And what was important for me was not to get money. It was to implement this product, this idea, to see this product, literally baked and sold.
I remember, even if I can even SMS him. Even SMS him.
Yeah.
You still remember.
Yeah, on a weekend, on a Sunday.
On a weekend, even on a Sunday, like, Shungu, can you just call me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just call me and say, why am I calling you? Just call me, man. You know, I just want you to listen to me because, here I'm stuck and here I'm just listening to you, you know, makes it better for me. My dream is to change, impact the community, seeing the society driven into a better lifestyle, improving people's lives through healthy eating and healthy lifestyle.
Z, you should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong. You should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong.